Hello, so welcome guys to this tutorial. I'm going to quickly go through today how to do 1 point perspective drawing. So when I teach students concept art for games, a lot of the stuff that we focus on is getting your drawings to have some kind of perspective in them and not be so flat. So 1 point, 2 point, and 3 point perspective are great ways to flesh out your drawings and get them looking a bit more realistic and having some kind of depth in them. Okay, so hopefully I'm going to run through some stuff today. Okay, so I've got a quick kind of setup here to explain roughly what some of the things that you need to use when you're doing a 1 point perspective. So first things first is you need to put a line that runs right across your page, just horizontally, and that's going to be called your horizon line. Okay, so I've just labeled it here. Horizon line, so it's just a horizontal line, and then anywhere on that line, preferably in the middle, for this tutorial, what we're going to do is we're going to put a little dot, and that's going to be called our vanishing point. Okay, so just to show an example of what 1 point perspective mimics, the most obvious example I normally use for people is a railway track. Okay, if I copy this and I'll make a new file, and I'll paste it in, I'll just show you what I mean. So in this image, if you're standing straight in the middle of a railway track and you look right down it, you'll notice all the lines converge into 1 point, and that's your vanishing point. So it's where all the lines begin to vanish. So if we look at this one, this is the horizon line, and this is the vanishing point. Okay, so all these lines here, they're all flowing back into that vanishing point. Okay, so if you're ever stuck and you're not too sure, just think of standing on a railway track. Okay, it's the best way to remember it. Right. So we'll leave that open there in the background. We might come back to it. So what I've done here is I've just set up a quick Photoshop file, and I've got my horizon line, and then in the middle I just put a big massive dot, and that's going to be my vanishing point. Okay, so we're going to start off with some real basic shapes. So we're going to knock off this lines and notes. So all I've got left is this. I'm doing this in Photoshop, but you can just follow along with a pen, a piece of paper, a pencil, piece of paper. It works exactly the same. Don't be afraid to use a ruler as well when you're starting out to help you do the straight lines. So what I want you to do is down the bottom left, all we're going to do is just draw a square. Okay, so just a simple square. Doesn't have to be 100% accurate either. For anyone who is following this in Photoshop, all I'm doing is as soon as I push down on my graphics tablet or with your mouse, I'm just holding down shift, and that's letting me do straight lines. So that's your square. Right. Now all we have to do next is take these points back to this vanishing point. So if you're following with a pen and a piece of paper or a pencil, use your ruler for this. It'll help you out. So I'm going to keep this on a separate layer. I'll do my construction lines in red just so it's a bit easier to see. Okay, so I'll switch the mouse for this. All we're doing is this point here, we're taking it back there. This point here, back to the vanishing point, and then same with the last point. Okay, so already now you can start to see this object having a bit more of a 3D feel to it. Okay, so what we do now is we just work our way along this line, and we decide exactly how deep this is going to be. Okay, so you notice on the square all we have is horizontal and vertical lines. So on the back end of the square all we're going to have is horizontal or vertical lines, same again. So I'm going to go down here and say, right, it's going to be about this deep. Alright, all I'll do is click. I'm just going to draw vertical line, and then same point again, because that's the end of the object. We just do a horizontal line. Okay, and then we can just heavy in these lines here. Then all I'm gonna do then is I'm just gonna get rid of my construction lines, just so you can have a good look at what the shape actually looks like. Yep. Okay, so dead simply, all you did was actually draw a flat square, take the lines back to your vanishing point, and then just decide how deep it is. So I'll quickly do another one, just to this side, just so you can see it again. Okay, so what we'll do this time is we'll do something maybe a lot longer. We'll do the shape a lot longer. Okay, so just drawing a flat shape, so in this case just a flat rectangle. Okay, and then same again, what I'm going to do is I'll switch to red just to show everyone watching how to do it. All I'll do is taking each of my corner points back to the vanishing point. Okay, and now same as before, we've got the rough construction lines in place. All we need to do now is decide, and it's up to you as the artist, how deep is this object going to be. So we'll do it a bit shorter this time. So vertical line, and then horizontal line from the same point. And then we just go back over those lines, heavy them in. So if you're using pencil or pen, you can heavy these in. And that's it. Okay. So that's what happens when you draw an object that's below the horizon line. Okay, so if you draw an object below the horizon line, you'll see the top of the object. So you're seeing this top side of it. Okay, we could develop this into any shape we want later on. We could build it into like a bench or whatever we're drawing. Now, if you draw an object above the horizon line, what'll happen is you'll actually see underneath the object, so it'll kind of be floating in mid-air. It's really handy if you're doing like any kind of sci-fi environment. You want to show underneath an object. So real quickly, I'm going to go through and I'll show you how to do one of those. So same principle again, and like anything, the more you do it, the more used to it you'll get. So I'm going to draw a flat rectangle first. I'm going to lightly take them back this time. Right. And then along this line, I decide exactly how much depth I want to put in it, and then I just heavy over my lines in. Okay, so I know that this line is 100% right. Yep, I put that in, and then I put this line in, and then finally this last one. Okay, and they're just the construction lines. So as you can see now, if you put an object above the horizon line, you'll see underneath the object, so you see the bottom side of it. If you put it underneath, you'll see the top side. So just quickly to recap there, so what you have is a horizontal line across your page. It's called your horizon line, and then somewhere on that line, preferably in the middle, you choose what's called the vanishing point, and that's where all your lines flow back to. So when you're drawing shapes, drawing basic shapes, what you'll do is flat shape, take your lines back to the center point, and then choose how deep they are, how much depth is going to be, and then a vertical, horizontal line, and then heavy in your shape. Okay, so any feedback or any further tutorials you'd be interested in seeing, just leave me a comment. I'd love to hear what works and what doesn't work. So thank you very much for watching.